Folks, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on the $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. Enjoy the show.
Woo.
And and I'm just stopping it there. That's the new normal until I figure out a new intro on that. Which it could be tomorrow, it could be 3 years from now. We'll find out. But
who can say?
Hey folks, who can say? And you may have noticed that my co-host this week is a bit more lovely than usual. It is Kelly Hinkle joining me. Ryan Quigley. I would debate here. I have to see Quigley every week. This is much better company. Okay. Ryan Quigley is out on assignment. He can't go to Russia to look for Matvei Michkov. He can't go to Belarus to look for Kolosov because he's here now. So I don't know where. I think Quigley was lying to me when he said he's going out on assignment, but he's somewhere and he's not here recording a podcast. Curiouser and curiouser. But
what could he be up to?
Whatever. Kelly is, I think, a hockey expert. We all say probably the best also hockey mind of our era. I think people have said.
Okay, that I would probably agree with.
Yeah, it's not a debate. Bill Matz would agree with me. Charlie might not.
In some ways,
Bill would.
And the ways are not at all conventional.
I feel the same way. Not conventional is how we roll on this program. That's why I'm wearing a Fanatic headband while I'm doing this. I've got bull horns in my background, a Pearl Jam pennant, all the fancy stuff. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, all the good stuff right there. Those horns were actually Emily's father's, and it says, "Mike, we took the bull out of your shit, and this is all that was left."
That's incredible.
It is it's one of those things that I think her mom was going to get rid of, and I'm like, there's not a chance in hell.
Never get rid of that.
These are bull horns,
That's beautiful.
This is like a prized possession now in this household.
What a genuine sentiment.
A genuine sentiment. Something you don't see these days. A genuine sentiment. I truly cherish and love this thing. And I'm glad that I didn't burn it down the other day because I've never really started a fire in my life before. And I came about as close as I have ever come to starting a fire in my home.
What did you do?
I think it was Monday night. I was frantically doing homework most of the night because I had an assignment due at midnight. And as a constant procrastinator in my life, of course, I waited till the last minute to get it done. This is why I love podcasting, because you know what? There's no procrastinating with podcasting. It's just like
happens when it happens.
Talk a bunch of shit, throw it out there. Great. But homework, especially papers, that shit, I'm going to procrastinate till the very last minute. And I was like, all right, I'll take a few minutes. I'll cook. I just made some chicken tenderloin, and like kale and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I pan fried everything. And the chicken, of course, is greasy. And I went to deglaze the pan with an alcohol-based deglazer. And the pan was way too hot.
Oh,
and
no.
I had a fireball of like
how exciting.
I was like, and I think people have seen The Bear will know the scene I'm talking about, but there's a scene in The Bear where Carmy starts a fire on the stovetop and he just stares at it. And that was me for it felt like an eternity. It was probably 10 seconds, but it felt like minutes where I was just staring at this thing going, what the fuck do I do right now? And thankfully, I very calmly took action where I just went.
Thank God.
And because at first I'm like, oh my God, do I have to get something to smother this? Because I can't throw water on it. And I'm like,
at least you knew that part.
The first thing to do here is turn off the flame.
Ah.
So I turned off the flame And the flame just went down.
How about that?
And I was like, thank God. Because any other escalation beyond that was going to ruin my night from there. And, obviously the house and our lives are the first concern. Like, poor Brucey boy is sitting right below the fire when this was happening.
Oh, no.
He was trying to get falling chicken. And it was not,
priorities.
Dogs too. Priorities. Yeah. But he didn't even notice it. He didn't even notice it. There's a flame as big as him. Doesn't care. Yeah, doesn't care. Doesn't give a shit.
Way to be chill under pressure, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
Totally nailed it.
I did nail it. And I went upstairs and I thought I got away with it scot-free for a few minutes because Emily was upstairs on a Zoom call with her comedy group. Mm-hmm. And I was like, she's never going to find out about this. And then the smoke alarm went off like 2 minutes later. And the one in my living room is up extremely high. So I had to run upstairs and get our stepladder. So there was no way.
Frantically waving anything that you can find at the smoke alarm, trying to get it to go off.
Actually, I already had a window open, so that helped a lot. But because it was a nice night, but man, I was like one of those things. And she came up, she's like, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like,
"No,
there's no fire at this time."
No, technically not a lie. There's no fire.
And it took her a minute. She's like, "At this time?" I'm like, "At this time. Finish up your call, and I'll tell you about it later."
At least you're better than me in that. At my old house, I simply removed the batteries from the kitchen smoke detector because I set it off so often. I was like, "This is annoying. I can't deal with this."
I feel that energy. I've been there.
Listen, if I die, I die. I can't set this thing off every time I cook. Come on.
If I die, I die. I feel that energy because sometimes they're extremely annoying, especially when they're sensitive, and especially when you have like a pretty shitty battery in there to start with. Because usually, if like you're in a landlord situation, like at my old place, like you're trying to not pay for stuff wherever you can. And I remember I would like try to just get those batteries as low as possible, and sometimes it was not working out too well. And it does that little chirp like every
I hate that chirp. Minutes. Drive you crazy.
It could drive anybody to madness. It absolutely could. It's like a telltale heart kind of thing. The telltale chirp.
I'm very glad you didn't burn your house down. It's a nice house.
Thank you. I've been enjoying it. If I burn it down after a year, that would have been a pretty lousy track record, and certainly something the Jaco family would never let me forget, because they don't let me forget like minor incidents from when I was 12 years old. They're definitely not going to let me forget about burning down a house at 40.
You don't really live that one down. That one sticks with you for a while.
I'm surprised they don't get on me more about the time I almost killed my grandmom by taking her to a Phillies game in 100+ degree weather.
Ooh.
Yeah, she was up visiting because my grandparents live in Myrtle Beach now, and they don't get up here very often. So, because they're in their 80s, we don't really travel too much. And my grandma loves the Phillies. She's a diehard Phillies fan from back in the day. She used to take me to games when Chase Utley gave his 2008 World Series trophy speech, and he said, "World fucking Series." She was right next to me, and she high-fived me.
That's amazing.
Picture. It's amazing. And she has a picture with the giant William Penn hat from 93. She has a picture with that. Like, it's cool.
So cool.
So I was like, hey, she's up here. This, honestly, she might never get to go to the ballpark again. Let's get her to a game. And of course, the game I got her up for was just like insanely hot. And she did not, there were old people getting pulled out on stretchers left and right at this game.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was bad. And she didn't want to leave either. She we basically pulled her out kicking and screaming in the 6th inning.
She's a real one.
She's a real one. She was delighted though, because it was they were honoring the 2008 team that day, and it was Brad Lidge bobblehead day, and she was like, "I got a Brad Lidge bobblehead. Nobody else down in Myrtle Beach is gonna have." I'm like, "Hell yeah, Graham! Thank you for not blaming me for almost dehydrating you to death."
She's got priorities, and I respect them.
Yeah, I never would have lived that one down though. Like, my aunts would be turning
to me. People would be upset.
Well, I don't even my family. It's I think they enjoy the ball busting too much that it will overcome upsetness, because I could see my aunts going, "Hey, remember when Steven killed mommy? What an asshole." They would cherish that.
I can see that based on like just knowing you.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah.
This is where I come from, folks. Like when I bust balls, it's all I know. It's all I know is ball busting. It's like my entire life growing up.
Comes by it honestly.
Yeah, it's an honest living. It is absolutely an honest living. And I guess this is a good time. I had a couple non-flyers thing, but I think we'll sandwich that. We'll make a little flyers. The flyers are the meat of the sandwich here. But Kelly Hinkle and I have lots of musical stuff for the end of the show. But
yeah,
this is a great time to get into some flyers talk. And let's talk about the thing that we all want to talk about, and that's Michkov Mania.
Matvei Michkov. Tony Dix. Not
Tony Dix. Tony Dix, okay. Aunt Dick, whatever you want to call him. Anthony Richard. Rocket Richard himself.
Ooh la la.
I will say Aunt Dick is amazingly fast. Like he had some wheels. Yeah.
He's got wheels.
I would not be upset to see him get some intermittent time with the Flyers this year, because like between him and Jet, they finally have some guys who can actually fly out there.
If he ends up with the Phantoms, I could see him being a regular call-up when they need a dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But hey, Aunt Dick's a lot of fun. Tony Dix, love the guy. He's been a fun time so far. Hunter McDonald's a big boy, a real Keith Jones kind of guy. And, there's some fun stuff to talk about. But I think we got to talk about the obvious thing first, and that's just Matvei Michkov, because the dude just continues to impress. I mean, he's probably been the best Flyer in the preseason, which is it's just stunning to think about.
Easily.
Like
he looks like, I was talking to Bill about this. The game the other day that he won in overtime. When that puck was on his stick and he was skating towards the goaltender in that overtime, I knew immediately that puck was going in. I knew without a doubt in my mind that puck was going in. And I can't remember the last time a Flyer, I mean, like Travis Konechny, you think like, yeah, I'll probably get that. Tippett, he might get that. Yeah. I knew that puck was going in.
You just feel a confidence.
He's just so friggin' good.
And the poise he has, the patience he has at his age is unbelievable. Like, it's insane that he's a teenager. It doesn't make sense. Like, I can't understand why he's so good. I think, is he 19 still?
Unclear.
Well, guess what? There's a way to find out. It's called the internet.
Oh, you have that?
I do. He's 19 years old.
Oh my God, he's a small baby.
He is a small baby, and he's our small baby, and I love him.
He's our baby.
He's our baby. Matvei Michkov. He's our baby. That's a Jeff Garcia reference for you people who don't pay attention to Philly culture as a whole and the Eagles. But Jeff Garcia, he's our baby. Absolutely worth a Google.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what that comes from.
Oh,
I just know that all of you, that Philly sports people at some point just started saying he's our baby, or they're our baby, and I thought it was funny. So I just incorporated it into my lexicon, having no idea where it comes from.
Because we now have the technology to do
we can
this
do
stuff. Yeah, we can do stuff. So I am going to share the screen, and you should hear video if you're.
This is our year.
Okay, here it is.
Oh, there he is.
We've came close, but this year is our year. Jeff Garcia, baby, is our baby. He's our baby. We are going.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
It's just stunning. I love it. That's an all-timer.
A little bit better because I've seen that man's face before, so I guess I kind of did know where it came
from.
You
were just like, that's a drunk Eagles fan. That's all I need to know about that.
I feel like I've just seen the still of him being like, sort of like
Jeff Garcia.
And I've seen like the still of the Phillies guy going like this.
Oh, the said guy.
Yeah, the said guy.
Said. Yeah, Jeff Garcia, he's our baby, and that's what I found out about way later than a lot of people, but I still know about it. I do remember.
Look at us.
I remember Garcia Mania though, because that was one of the funniest times because Jeff Garcia was only an Eagle for a year or two, not a very long time. And he had one playoff run where people like really like lost their minds. And I worked at Boscov's at the time, and they were selling shirts that said Garcia Mania, and it had him like going like doing a Rocky like flex on it. And I was like, and I was selling these, and I'm like, people will be buying them, and I'm like, McNabb's going to be the quarterback again next year, right? Like you're aware of this. This is just a fad. And they're like, Jeff Garcia, he's our baby. I'm like, all right, 1999, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Oh,
anyway,
man.
So Jeff Garcia is not our baby anymore.
No, Matvei Michkov. He's our baby.
I've been saying his name wrong.
Well, dude, they can't even get it right on NBC Sports because, like, you've got Jim Jackson and Bouchard saying Michkov, but then Ashland's saying, is it Ashland?
Yeah.
Okay. I just got used to Ashland saying Michkov. So, and
New Terran.
New Terran. Quick says Michkov too, and I've always said Michkov. So
see, like, I've always said Michkov.
I think that you
American.
two are more in. See, I was thinking that was more of a Canadian way to say it.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like since
because
JJ says Michkov, that's the way.
I've always thought it was Michkov.
JJ doesn't get it wrong.
JJ, no, and I feel like I talked to JJ about this when I interviewed him. Ooh, this was over a decade ago. Folks, over a decade ago. I talked to Jim Jackson to the Philadelphia Flyers, but JJ like is one of those guys. Like he will go through, and I know a lot of sportscasters will actually ask the guys for the pronunciation, so they actually know what the guys prefer. So if JJ's saying it, that's the way to say it. So I'm gonna yell at Quigley next week and be like, Quigley, it's Michkov. You're saying Mitch. Yeah. Well, it's a lot like Nazem Kadri. Because I say Kadri, but everybody else says like Kadri.
That's big. That's big Canadian. Nazem Kadri.
Big Canadian. Kadri. Nazem Kadri.
Kadri.
Oh,
Nazem Kadri, like a normal person.
Mazda Toronto. Let's go to that was my favorite.
We need some pasta in my Mazda.
When I worked MLB TV, when I would get Toronto Blue Jays games, I'd get the radio ads, and it was always, come down to Mazda Toronto, and I would lose it. It would crack me up every time.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. But Matvei Michkov is a teenager for another, Another like
year, I guess?
No, December 9th. December 9th, 2004. Amazing. But yeah, Matvei Michkov will be 20 in December, but he's still a teenager until then. And the fact that he has the poise that he has, the fact that he is just as patient and calm, and the offensive instincts he has are unlike. Have you ever seen a player with just the natural offensive instincts that this guy has?
On the Flyers?
Yeah, like I mean, obviously we had Yager, but it was at the end of his career.
I mean,
we had Forsberg towards the end of his career.
We're real good at getting guys when they used to be. Like they used to be Matvei Michkov.
Right.
But now
just say what's in your heart today, Hinkle. Whatever flows off the tongue. But like and Eric Lindros was like it's such an obviously like maybe the most gifted player in Flyers history, but I don't know that he necessarily had the offensive instincts that Michkov has. Like there's just something about his game that he seems to see it in a different dimension than the other guys out there.
It's pretty clear. Like it's pretty clear that he sees 3 and 4 moves ahead of everybody else. And it's interesting because remember how we heard that like he got mad, like he would get mad at his teammates in Russia because they couldn't keep up with him. And I think that, like, even though obviously the Flyers are better because they're professional NHL hockey players and not B-team KHL guys, no Jordan Wheels on the Flyers. You know what I mean?
I don't miss him.
I feel like even now you kind of see from time to time Michkov put the puck where he thinks somebody ought to be, and they're not there yet. And I feel like over the course of the season, we're going to see the other guys start to figure out how he thinks and start going where he wants them to go, which means like him with his like galaxy brain hockey mind directing the play on the ice, it's going to be pretty sick. It's going to be
pretty sick.
Because, like, honestly, the thing that I've been most impressed with, like, I don't know that I realized how good he was at distributing the puck.
Right.
Like, I kind of expected him to be, like, you know, showboaty, selfish, shoot first, that kind of guy, which I would have been fine with because we've never had one of those either. I'll take that all day. But he's so good at just, like, getting other guys the puck. Like, the passes that he makes are insane.
Like, the play he made in the Boston game with Travis Konechny was just, like, next level stuff right there, where just him seeing those moves and knowing that that was what he was going to have to do to get TK that goal. Like, I don't know. He was the best player in, like, pretty much every game. He's got 7 points in the preseason, 3 goals and 4 assists. Just, I don't know if there's any stopping him right now, and I love to see it. And he's already showing great chemistry with multiple teammates. I mean, Travis Konechny, he's had a great chemistry with Morgan Frost, really, really good chemistry there. Tippett, already really good stuff. And Couturier's already fought a dude for him, which Sean Couturier fight? Like, what world is this?
It seems like the team loves him, like, genuinely. Like, the way they celebrated after he scored that overtime game winner, like, they seem to really love this kid. And what's also extremely impressive to me is that he seems to be communicating with everyone very well.
Right. Like, he doesn't even know the language, but he's communicating.
He seems to be
he
like,
speaks
I think
hockey.
he might have, like, chirped Konechny at some point last game because Konechny, like, laughed at him. Like, he seems to be, like, telling guys things. Like, I don't know how quickly he's learning English, but he seems to be doing pretty dang good.
He really does. The reaction when he scored that overtime winner from the teammates, where they're all patting him on the head, was, oh my God, that's like one of the coolest Flyers thing I've seen in a long friggin' time.
It was so genuine.
It was so genuine.
Like,
they were all psyched for him.
They love this kid.
They love him.
I think that's freaking awesome because, like, I think there seemed to be some conversation about, like, oh, like, what if they resent his special treatment? What if, like, they think he's a showboat? Like, what if, you know, like, all of this stuff. And it seemed like the second he got here, like, the Farabee homies took him into their little crew. And, like, everyone seems to like him. He seems like a genuinely nice kid. This is why I know Alexei Kolosov is an asshole. Because I don't think that this group of guys and this organization puts people on the outside.
Right.
It seems like a group of guys that really wants to bring their teammates in. And I don't doubt that the Phantoms are the same. And so I think that Alexei Kolosov was by himself all the time because he's an asshole.
Right.
And I'm sticking by it.
There's something up with the whole Kolosov situation. And he is here now. I don't know why he's here, but he's here. Well, I do know why he's here. It's called money. And it was called the Flyers saying to him, well, you really want to void your NHL contract? And we're going to blacklist you with every team. Because
go ahead.
Danny Briere is just like, he's already become a master of the smear in the media with the Gauthier situation and he was already starting to work that with Kolosov because he was already saying, like, well, he just wanted to be in the NHL right off the bat. And because Kolosov hadn't said anything, that's the only story to really go with.
And I mean, it's probably true. I mean, it seems like these youths, Steve, I just want it all handed to them. Because it is the same story with Gauthier. And for some reason, I still think that people blame that one on Danny Briere, but based on what I've heard from sources, Charlie, it was 100% Gauthier being upset that they weren't fawning on him enough. Like, they were begging him. Like it wasn't like, it was more like a, oh yeah, we'll bring you. Like it wasn't like a, oh my God, we need you. Get on our team right now. You're definitely going to make the NHL immediately. Like it wasn't like that. And I think that from what I understand, his college team was like, we really need you. We need you back. We want you back. Team needs you. And he was hearing that from that side. And then the Flyers were like, oh yeah, if you want to, come on by, come to training camp. We'll see how you do.
We're in
See
no
if you make
rush.
the team. And then he was like, nah, no. All right. See you later.
So weird.
Dork.
It's so weird. Oh, and I guess it didn't help him then seeing what happened with Michkov, then like seeing how the organization's like, we need Matvei Michkov right now. We are dog shit until he is here. And man, I hope it's killing him right now seeing the reaction to that, because
I really need Anaheim to be bad just because it'll be fun for me personally.
Well, and it's so funny with Anaheim too, because like he's not the dude in Anaheim, not by any stretch of the imagination. They have some great players there.
And even though they have a bunch of dudes, they're not going to be a good team.
No.
Like they got pieces, but they don't have a whole team, and it's going to be a little while until they get one.
Wow.
It's gonna be a while. So good.
I'm glad I got to bring it back this week. We haven't done been a while, so it's
back to Kolosov. I think it's probably a combination of Briere being like, either play for us or you're never gonna play in this league. Make your choice.
Right, because who really wants to take him on? But also,
Ivan Fedotov did not look, to me, super solid in those first couple of showings.
No, there's a lot of stumbling and bumbling in net there.
And then you got Cal, who, is what he is.
He's smiling politely.
And I would assume that Alexei Kolosov, while probably an asshole, is not an idiot, and looked at this and was like, oh, wait, I probably could make the NHL there at some point really soon.
Right, because also, like, we still don't know who Sam Ersson is. Like, we have an idea who Sam Ersson is, and we think he's solid. He's looked great in the preseason so far. But, like, we don't know who Sam Ersson is. We have no idea if this is a long-time NHL starter or this is just a flash in the pan like so many other guys we've had here.
And also, someone's going to get hurt.
Yes.
And who are we calling up? Cal?
No.
We don't want to call up Cal.
And we don't. Given how he's looked so far, we really don't want Fedotov in there for an extended. I barely want him in there for the backup role right now. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's part of Matvei Michkov's friend group, which is the most secure jobs you can have in the NHL. Igor Zamula, it looks like a genius right now for just being Russian.
Ever losing his spot on this team.
No.
He made himself indispensable. I think Fedotov has looked I think he's looked better over the last couple of games.
Right. And I think part of that's adjusting to the North American game for sure. But the stuff that concerns me is kind of the stumbling and like the slow time getting up, which is probably due to his frame, because he's a freaking huge guy.
So big.
Just like one of the biggest goaltenders I've ever seen. Yeah.
He's all over the place.
Just stay upwards. Honestly, this is a dude who could probably just stay butterfly the entire time and just go side to side and stop everything.
You're so big. Just be in front of the net.
Just be there.
You don't need to Dominic Hasek yourself back and forth across the crease.
Be the opposite. Be the opposite of Hasek. Just be a statue, and you're probably going to stop more than half the shots by just being a statue.
I mean, here's the thing. He might just be like an ugly goaltender. And if he can keep the pucks out looking like a freak and making all of us nervous the entire time, like, I'm fine with that. But
sure. It's all about
I'm unsure about the puck staying out part. Still.
It's all about that save percentage at the end of the day. And if that save percentage is shitty, then, well, it might be Kolosov time. So the thing is, like, we've been saying this since the beginning of the Kolosov drama, is there's a path. Like, there is a job to be had. This is not 100. Nashville with Askarov.
No, and also, like, the starting job in the AHL is very easily yours.
It is his. Like,
100%. Like maybe Makiniemi outplays him. He looked pretty solid in the little bit of time that we saw him. So he's probably like a fine goaltender. But like, based on what we saw from Kolosov, I see no reason to think he wouldn't outplay Makiniemi on a regular basis. So like, why wouldn't he be the starter?
And
So,
the
like, okay,
wild
so
thing
now-
is, if Kolosov didn't even like throw this fit in the first place, Makiniemi's not even here.
No, that's right. Yeah, we wouldn't have even signed him.
Yeah.
So then you're just like already the starter. So now you're playing like probably 70% of the games if Cal Peterson is your backup in the AHL. And the second one of the goaltenders on the Flyers gets hurt, you're in the NHL without question.
Without question.
And also, and so then if you come up there and you look like you looked in that preseason game for 30 minutes, now all of a sudden we're having a conversation about, well, who's the backup when the hurt goalie gets back? Because this kid looks real good. And now you've like really wedged your, like the path was just so clear. It was so stupid to me that he threw this fit, because as soon as Carter Hart left the equation, his path just like opened right up. And all he had to do was like have a little bit of patience. That said, I also wouldn't live in Allentown. So
no, I get that energy.
Understood.
Completely. I don't even want to see the Phantoms up there. So no offense to you Allentonians.
It's a real
love
pain
the show,
in the ass to go there. Can we say ass on Flyperbole?
Oh, we could say whatever you want.
Thank God.
We could say literally any word.
I'm not allowed to say curse words on PHLY anymore, and it's not
Kelly,
fun.
You have an open invite to Flyperbole if you just want to curse about the Flyers, okay? Anytime you want. You can come on. We could even just start the Stephen Kelly cursing show if you want to do that. I think people would listen.
Probably.
Fuck, shit, fuck, shit. Fuck. That's it.
Just like, yeah. Bark curse words at each other.
Bill's got his amazing post game where he listens to people and, you know, talks everything over in detail. We'll just have our post game where it's just fuck, shit, fuck, shit.
Yeah.
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 No,
I like it. I think there's a market for it.
There's definitely a market for it.
No,
Flyperbole is an open place for cussing as much as you want. We love the cussing on Flype, and it's just not the same. I actually found out if I at least the first time I tried to upload a video to Instagram with cursing for the first time, it did bleep it, which I thought was hilarious. Yeah.
That's so funny. I always
TikTok though. TikTok doesn't give a shit.
I always assumed that people were bleeping it on Instagram. Instagram does that automatically?
It did, at least in the one video I uploaded.
Interesting. Because I've seen like people's reels, like watching other people's stories when they're like explaining something and they say shit and it bleeps it out. I always thought maybe that was like a choice that they made. But
that's what I assume too.
How about that?
The more you know.
A bunch of prudes at Instagram.
They are. It's Mark Zuckerberg's fault.
The app where people post pictures like of their ass.
Right.
You can't say shit. Yeah. All right.
You can't, it's ass all you want, but no shit to be found. I don't know. Kolosov is just, man, it just drives me nuts. Like, he really did have a path and he really screwed himself here. And the thing is, like, even if he is an asshole, even if he is whiny, I still want to see what he's got, because if he is a solution in net, like, now that Hart is out of the picture, you really need to find that guy. And the thing is, the pieces are starting to come together. You got so many draft picks coming up. What is it? 3 first-round picks next year?
Yeah.
You got 3 first-round picks. Michkov is here. Looks friggin' awesome.
Amazing.
Jet Luchenko looks really good. Like, Jet Luchenko is going to go back to juniors and crush it. And we might see him next year even. Like,
I have a feeling he's going to come into camp next year and look like crazy. And there's going to be no doubt that he's on the team next year.
He is already making Danny Briere look smart for that pick.
Yes. Yes. I don't think anyone's questioning it anymore.
Yeah. People.
Like anyone.
Everybody at the draft party were like, I remember Joe's reaction. Italian Joe was just like, what is this? He couldn't believe it. And I don't do any draft research. Yeah. I don't do any draft research. I was like, that's a name.
I jokingly said, what are they going to do? Draft Jet Luchenko? Only because I remembered his name because it's a funny name.
It is a funny name. And then it turns out it's an awesome name because he's fucking fast. He's speedy. But what impresses me about him is just his hockey IQ. Like, he's making really friggin' smart plays out there, especially for a teenager.
I literally was 17 5 minutes ago.
It's crazy. It's and he was like, he's skating with full grown ass men in the NHL. Now, granted, like, Did he look better in the first couple games with the rookies and some of the younger guys? Absolutely. Yeah. Once the bigger guys, once the full men started like tossing them around, it was a different experience. But you know what? Even considering that, he looked really good and was making a lot of smart plays. Like the future is very bright with him. As I said, Michkov, and you've got some solid pieces. Drysdale's skating has looked fantastic in preseason. Cam York has turned into a really solid player for this team. And I'm just trying to think of other Tyson Forrester. I love Tyson Forrester. And Bobby Brink's had a strong preseason. So
Bobby Brink has looked so good.
Bobby Brink is a guy.
Preseason.
He wants out of that Tortorella doghouse. You can tell.
There's no way he can be in it anymore. He's looked so good. Like, and so not even
that
just
Washington
like
game,
not flashes of good, like consistently good since the start of camp.
Yeah.
And that's awesome because if all of the guys take a step, like I really hate to break it to the haters and the losers, of which there are many. It's a good hockey team. Like your tank dreams are over simply because the team's too good now to tank. Like it's a good team. Like I don't know how to break it to you.
It's a good team. The pieces are good. Like they've got like their wingers are fantastic. Their winger depth is awesome.
The wingers are great.
If they can get centers, centers are thin. Couturier is looked up and down again.
You add Jet next year, suddenly not so thin.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
The thing is, in the future, like you can work some of those wingers in deals. Like there are things that you can do to get creative as a GM, and we've seen that Danny Briere is not afraid to be creative as a GM. You know, the Provorov deal, for instance, was a home run for him. Like, are we stuck with Cal Peterson in the AHL? Yeah, but who gives a shit?
No one cares.
They ended up getting they got half a season of Sean Walker where he was awesome, and then they flipped him for another first round pick. So that's why they are just like. They have crazy first round picks next year. So
you
there's
have
just
to
things.
remember that like Florida, I mean, that's the most recent one. So that's the easiest one to point to. The Florida Panthers were built the way that Danny Briere is building the Flyers. Like he's absolutely going to have to make some trades that are good. Like his work is not done. He's got stuff he's got to do. But like in my mind, the way that team was built is the model. They did not build that team through the draft. And honestly, Colorado did not build their Cup winning team through the draft. They drafted Nathan MacKinnon. Yes, that helps a lot. But we drafted Matvei Michkov. He's good.
Getting that home run of offensive talent is a lot of the battle. Like, because you do have to get a player like that through the draft. Like those are guys that very rarely can you trade
any other way.
Very rarely can you trade for Matthew Tkachuk. You know, Florida worked, and the thing is, Florida had drafted Huberdeau in the first place, who put up amazing numbers with Barkov, where they got to that point where they're like, okay, we can trade this very good asset for this other very good asset and see what comes out on top. That's a rare trade. Like those kind of trades don't happen often. Like the only other ones I can really think of are like when Laine got traded for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Like that one was pretty straight up, and that one was weird for both teams. But like Huberdeau has clearly not been the superior player in Calgary. His numbers have been okay, but like it's not what Tkachuk was.
That was a weird situation because like he didn't want to be in it always happens. Like guys don't want to be in Calgary or they don't want to be in Winnipeg. And like, those are the guys that you could steal from one of these teams. But outside of that, those guys don't get traded. That's why I thought all those Brady Tkachuk rumors were hilarious. I'm like, why would Ottawa trade Brady Tkachuk?
Right.
Ever?
Why would they bother doing that unless he said he wanted to leave?
Unless Brady Tkachuk goes into the office and says, I don't want to play here anymore. You have to trade me.
And the thing is, Ottawa has other guys on that team. And the thing is, Ottawa is also a little bit closer to civilization as the capital of Canada and pretty close to the border. Whereas Calgary,
nearby a town called Hearst, I've heard.
Oh, nearby Hearst. Yeah. No, Calgary is way out there. I mean, it's in the Saddle Dome for a reason. It's Frontierland.
I've heard it's a nice city.
I've heard it's a nice city. I'd visit,
I don't know why people hate it so much. It's weird.
I think the thing is like just being further out or something. I think it's just like it takes a while to travel around that area, but who the fuck knows?
You're probably on the plane a lot for all that, but
yeah. But I mean, hey, look, Edmonton locks down guys, and Edmonton's supposed to be like Snow Central.
I went there a couple of times. I liked it. Thought it was nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Connor McDavid clearly likes it enough to sign a deal for a long time, and didn't one of the other great players in the NHL just sign a decent deal there for a while?
Draisaitl.
Yeah, Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Might have heard of him. He's all right.
He's pretty good. I've
He's
heard
all
some
right.
things.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, you do have to get a couple guys through the draft, right? Like,
Yes.
You're not going to get McDavid and Draisaitl every time, but if you get Michkov, and Michkov looks for his career as good as he looks right now, and he looks like a franchise cornerstone right now.
He sure does.
But
and
that's half the battle right there, is getting that guy, because then you can recruit other guys to come play with this guy.
Right. And not only that, but he's going to improve the players around him.
Yes.
Like,
That's what I'm excited for.
Me too.
Like,
I'm really excited for Morgan Frost to get a chance to like be the guy.
You beat
And I
me
think
to
he
it.
can be. I really do.
I think Morgan Frost has looked really good with Michkov in this preseason. He's looked a
Yes.
lot more confident. There was one play in particular in Boston where Michkov set him up for a potential goal, where they just showed great chemistry on the ice already, where, Frost didn't score on
Yeah.
I think it was a one-timer right in front of the net, but it was a great scoring attempt. And the Flyers didn't have a lot of shots in that game, so wherever they could get it, they were absolutely taking it.
Their games, I feel like, complement each other very well.
Yeah. And
'Cause
then
Frost
Tippett on the
is a
wing
great-
has been fun.
I like that. I kind of want to see him with Forster more. Only because I
agree.
feel like it would be cool to spread out the dudes who like scoring goals, and like Tippett and Michkov are like the two guys who love scoring goals. So like it would be cool to just like have Michkov as the guy. Like Frost is going to get him the puck. Michkov is going to do the things. Forster is going to like lock down the defense when needed and also do some goals. But like, I mean, if it ends up being Tippett, it's not going to be bad, especially given how fast he is. But I kind of like the idea of Tippett being on another line that doesn't have a guy as creative as Michkov, only because I feel like Tippett will score a bunch of goals just by shooting every single time he hits the puck.
Right. The thing about Forrester is he has a great shot, but he's not necessarily known for his puck creativity in a way that Michkov and Tippett are. So and Forrester, though, that defensive game's awesome. And yeah, like Morgan Frost, like he's probably not the best defensive center you're going to have on this team. So
he got better last year.
He did get better. I think Morgan Frost has really taken some steps. And if he can play well with Matvei, I mean, that's going to make a big difference. I mean, even if he's not with Matvei, the talent you have in the top six right now is really nice. So even if he's not with Matvei Michkov, he will have like Tippett, Forrester, Konechny, Brink. Like there are guys that are going to be playing up there that are really Farabee, who I have not been that overly impressed with Farabee in the preseason, but Farabee's second on the team in points in the preseason. So maybe I'm just an idiot.
I mean, the top 9 really is quite good. Like there seems to be like some consternation about the fact that like Joel Farabee is going to have to be a third liner, but
no.
I feel like on a legit good hockey team, Joel Farabee is a third liner. Like, I feel like as Flyers fans, we're so used to the third line being ineffective that like the idea of the third line being a scoring line doesn't make any sense to us. And I feel like the Flyers are in a position where the third line could be a legitimate scoring threat every time they're on the ice, which to me seems good.
Well, let's think back to the last Stanley Cup team in Flyers history, and that's the 2010 team. And who were your third line guys on that team? Mike Richards, Simone Gagne, and I think Carcillo was playing with them a lot at that point.
Might have been,
but Richards
and
Gagne
on the third line a lot.
Yeah, Giroux would be down there a lot. Like you had talented guys on the third line on that team. Like Mike Richards was your third line setter. Damn.
Yeah, your third line should be a scoring threat.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about that team was their second line ended up being the real scoring threat, where it was that great Briere, Ville Leno and Scott Hartnell line. And it's just an insane thing to think about that line was fantastic together, but they
The
were.
real days.
And the thing is, like, that line was not very good defensively, but they just went out there and did their friggin' thing and scored a ton of points.
And look where it got us, Steve.
Got them in the final. And, you got to have that kind of depth. I mean, also think about, like, after the Flyers traded Van Riemsdyk to Toronto, and Van Riemsdyk's role in Toronto, he was a third-line player there for the most part. Power play in the third line, and he scored a ton of goals for the Leafs.
Exactly. Because, like, sometimes I feel like we don't know what to do when we have too many talented players. Like, we talk ourselves into having too many good players being a problem. And then we're like, oh, we got to get rid of some of these guys. Or do we keep all of the good players and have several lines that contain good hockey players?
Tell me more.
I know. It's crazy.
Let me subscribe to your newsletter.
What if all of the lines could score goals?
Oh, wow. How about that? That would be something else. I would be very happy if all the lines could score goals.
It's an idea I've been kicking around in my head.
So what do we have line projections right now for the season? Because, like,
I think so.
Where Michkov is going to play is really a big question right now.
I'm guessing he'll be on the second line with Frost, and I'm guessing it'll probably be Tippett to start.
Yeah. So I'm going to look Daily Faceoff, what they have right now. So Daily Faceoff has it as Forster, Couturier, Konechny on the top line.
Mm-hmm.
Tippett, Frost, Michkov on the second.
Mm-hmm.
Farabee, Lawton, Brink on the third.
Yep.
And then Cates, Paling, Hathaway on the fourth. I really like that lineup.
I'm going to tell. That's a good hockey team.
Like, it's a good hockey team. I like that fourth line.
It's a good hockey team.
Like, I like Hathaway. Hathaway's a great role player.
Fourth line's great.
Yeah. Paling's a great role player too. Paling's got some speed. Yes. He's a very serviceable fourth line center.
Yes. They could do stuff.
The defense, I mean, could it be better? Obviously, but it's not the worst defense I've seen.
The defense is sus.
It's
got some proving to do.
York Sandheim, solid. Sealer Drysdale, I hope it's better than it looks. I mean, Drysdale's skating has looked fantastic. And Sealer's
he's got to get it together a little bit more, but I feel like he's on the way.
Yeah. And then Zamula Risto is that is a third line pairing. Yeah, actually, you know what?
Good.
I hate to say it, but the Risto Alliance will love hearing this. Risto looked pretty good. I would love to see Risto actually play like his contract. That's all I've ever wanted. I don't want to dislike Risto.
He's never going to because it's way too much.
I would like him to play to 3/4 of his contract and I'll be happy.
I mean, in a world where we didn't have to concern ourselves with how much money these guys make, I'd be very happy with Rasmus Ristolainen right now as our third pair guy. Yeah. He's looked very good in that role.
That is a good role for him. And here's the Risto. I've said this time and time again. I just want you to be a bully out there. I want you to just shove guys.
Bradshaw is a wizard.
I love Bradshaw. Like, if Tortsy wants to step aside and give Bradshaw the reins, I'm all about it.
Me too.
Now, Rocky.
Rocky's
no thanks.
No.
I'm sure he's a fine human being, but
I got no time for Rocky Thompson.
I got no time. For Rocky Thompson. No time at all. He's the only Rocky that's. There's only one Rocky we care about in Philly. It ain't Rocky Thompson.
That's right.
Yeah, it's the fictional character. I feel good about a lot of the stuff on this team, and it's been an interesting preseason. Obviously, the Boston game wasn't great, but I've seen a lot of good stuff, and it's the preseason, so who gives a shit? Wins and losses don't matter.
Probably also a bit tired.
Oh yeah,
There's too many preseason games.
Too many. And it's spread out a few weeks. I feel like we should be doing the regular season now. We have it. I mean, we're a week away, more or less, but I want it now because feels like they're ready.
You've got all the camp stuff in between the preseason games, so it's a lot for these dudes, and now it's starting to get real chippy. It's too many games. There's too much chance for these guys to get hurt.
Well, I mean, didn't Macklin Celebrini get hurt last night for the Sharks?
I think he did.
Yeah, like, and you don't want to see that. Like, as a fan of the game, like, I want to see
You
Celebrini
want to
be
see the
another
good
great player.
players.
Yeah.
Right.
I want talent in this league. Do I hate that Connor Bedard went to Chicago? Absolutely. But I want to see that dude be a stud because I want talent in the league, because I want people to like my sport and
Yes.
come out and watch it and see it, because it's a fucking awesome sport. It's the best sport. So
Best
come
sport.
out, enjoy my fast sport, and
Yeah.
let's get more guys in there with extreme talent. Like,
Yeah. And then
more
also like and
McDavids.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe. BroadStreetHockey.com. Like and subscribe, folks. Subscribe everywhere. Okay. Every streaming service for
All of
podcasts you can think of, YouTube, and subscribe to the site. Tangy Tent coming your way from the Broad Street Hockey
So
crew
much
this
tent.
upcoming season. Anything before we close out the Flyers portion of this podcast? Anything else that you have seen in the preseason that has impressed you, worried you, or noteworthy?
I think more than anything, my takeaway from this preseason is that all of the fears coming out of last season that this season was going to be a step back were completely unfounded. And a lot of that has to do with Michkov, obviously. But also, it does seem like all of the guys that got a little bit better last year have gotten a little bit better this year. And that's a very good thing for this rebuild or retool or whatever the fuck you want to call it. What we need is incrementally for these guys to get as good as they're going to get until they reach their ceilings. And it seems like some of them might have higher ceilings than we thought.
I love that. I love that. And
great.
It is great. It's very true too. And, you know, I know we all love to give John Tortorella shit. The guy has a reputation. He says these sassy comments sometimes. The Tort Sassometer is a very high meter. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who's evolved as an NHL coach. He is not the coach he was with the New York Rangers. He absolutely isn't. And the way he's brought some of these guys along has been really, really inspiring. I mean, Cam York is like one that we were all terrified when he went back to the minors and had a bad time with Torts. Cam York is one of his guys now. Travis Konechny is one of his guys. Like, these guys have grown.
Sanheim was on the outs there at the beginning, and he's one of the guys now. I have my quarrels with John Tortorella, but I do think on the whole, he has been good for this stage of where this team is. I don't know that I want him to be the coach when they're really ready to like push the pedal all the way down and really go for it. But for what they're doing right now, he has been good because, like, for the most part, the guys that he decided he didn't want around anymore weren't good anywhere else either. So like
Kevin Hayes got traded again.
Maybe he's on to something.
Like, the Blues basically like paid the Penguins to take Kevin Hayes.
Yeah. Which, you know, sucks.
It sucks. We like Kevin Hayes.
But, you know.
Kevin Hayes seems like a super nice guy. You know, and obviously, like, I think very few people in the hockey world have had as tough a time in the past few years as he has, because he's just
that poor guy.
You know, he's lost a lot, and it's awful to see. And you know, Kevin Hayes, but he's a good dude, and it's a shame. And it's a shame I'm going to have to vehemently root against him this year as a Pittsburgh Penguin. But them's the breaks.
Them's the breaks, Steve.
It's wild to me that Carter retired, and they're like, well, we got to get another ex-Flyer.
Right. We need another old guy.
We need another old center that isn't that good anymore, that will score at least twice against the Flyers this season.
That's your guy.
You better believe Hazy is scoring in those games. And he's doing the old championship belt and all that
100%.
shit. Yeah, it's bet on it. And use Bet Online to bet on it, folks. There we go. That's how you get your placement in there. But yeah, I'm very excited for the season to start. We are almost there. And Kelly, this has been great talking Flyers with you. We'll have to do this more often in the upcoming season.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, this was fun. I'd like to end this out, though, with talking about something that, and if you're here for the hockey talk, this might be the time to tune out. We've gotten your listen.
Dare tune out.
We've gotten your listen. I'm happy. But I wanted to talk with Kelly a little music right now, because this is a connection between Kelly and I. We are both, you know, from a similar era of music, and we we're on the same wavelength with a lot of this stuff.
Steve and
And
us are Peach Pals.
we are Peach Pals. And we both went to we've sat through the Pearl Jam merch line this year, and we had a good time chopping it up with people in line and everything. And Kelly went to I only went to the one show on this tour, but Kelly went to a bunch of shows. How many did you go to ultimately on this 2024 Pearl Jam tour?
Only 5.
Only 5.
Yeah.
Only 5. 5 is a lot. I mean, 2 were in Philly, to be fair.
Yeah. 2 in Philly, 2 in Boston, 1 in Missoula, Montana.
Missoula, Montana.
Yeah.
So let's put the Chicago show. Did you go to any more than just Chicago last year with us?
No, I did 2. I did the 2 Chicagos with you guys.
Okay.
I did the 2 Philly shows. I did Ottawa and New York City.
New York City. How about that? So if you had to do a quick ranking of the shows, and there's a lot of factors. There's obviously like atmosphere and all that. Playlist vibes is a big factor. Absolutely. Like, as much as I enjoyed those Chicago shows, the vibes were not the best in that crowd. People were way too drunk in that crowd.
Yeah, there was a lot of drunk dads at those shows.
Like that dude who was asking you about Denver omelets.
Oh yeah.
There was a guy. So we were leaving the United Center, and some guy comes up to us, and he like goes to Kelly, and he's like, "Hey, we're getting Denver omelets."
We didn't,
and we just looked at him. We're like, "You can go away."
Yeah. Devin Kaplan's billet dad was pretty drunk. He sat next to me at
I forgot about that.
Those shows. Yeah, Devin Kaplan's billet dad was next to me.
Fantastic.
At a show. Good times.
Okay. What's your tops though from the past like 2 years of Pearl Jam here?
So Philly Night 1 from this tour was like a top 5 show for me, easy.
I'm mad I missed Night 1. Night 2 was great, but
I was bummed that you guys weren't there either. I don't know what it was about that crowd, but like it was one of the loudest crowds I think I've ever been a part of. The amount of singing along to like not just the hits, but like MFC.
Yeah.
People are like, it was just like, it was an immaculate vibe. The band seemed very happy to be there. You know how it is with the boys. They can really sense when
Eddie and the boys. Eddie and the boys, as my friend Michelle's boyfriend Carl likes to call him. Eddie and the boys. It's a very
reciprocal situation at these Pearl Jam shows.
They love a Philly show. Like they always.
Philly shows tend to be pretty good. They like Philadelphia. Yeah. The Missoula show is super cool.
It's such a cool venue because is it a college team?
Yeah, it was the college football arena, stadium, whatever. And it's just like a beautiful location, like unlike any place I've ever been. And I think they kind of go a little bit hard there because it's Jeff's hometown show.
Yeah.
So that was a very cool show. Philly Night 2 was outstanding.
Yeah, it was I'm not too bummed I missed Night 1 because Night 2 was still like outstanding. Like I had a great time.
Yeah. And Fenway, I think Fenway Night 2 was better than Night 1.
Okay.
I had a better seat for Night 1, but the vibes were better Night 2.
I find a lot of the Night 2 vibes are generally really good.
A lot of times that's how it goes. Like they ease in a little bit or something.
Fenway's a cool place to see a show though. Like it's like such a historic stadium.
We got to have a talk though about the absolute scam that is the Fenway Frank.
I heard you talking about this. Yeah. I didn't even know the Fenway Frank was a thing.
So a Fenway Frank is a thing, apparently. It's a thing that costs $6. It's a hot dog.
$6? No.
So like, remember when we went to Wrigley when we were in Chicago?
Right. The Chicago hot dog is absolutely an institution.
The Chicago hot dog is fucking elite. The Chicago hot dog is delicious.
Well, and they put a ton of shit on there. You're getting bang for your buck with that.
Nothing about it. The Fenway Frank, Steve, is a steamed hot dog, and not even like a good like Hebrew National type of hot dog, like a shitty hot dog on like a wet split top bun. And like the bun to dog ratio is off. Like there's too much dog. There's not enough bun. and the bun is very soggy and thin. And it was just like, I was like, why did this thing get a name? Like, why did we name this dish? Why is this like a thing that I'm gonna get a Fenway Frank? Like, no, this is a shitty. Frank. The dollar dogs that you get at a Phillies game are superior to this Fenway Frank. If you ever find yourself at Fenway, do not fall for the lure of the Fenway Frank. Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's a trap. Don't do it.
It's a trap. It's the most disappointing hot dog I've ever. I like a hot dog, especially at a sports venue. It was the most disappointing hot dog I've ever had in my life.
You'll do
terrible
it.
hot dog.
So you'd recommend the Flyers have a number of dollar dog days coming up this season. So you'd recommend a Flyers dollar dog over a Fenway Frank.
Those dogs are delicious. I think they're Dietz and Watson. You can't fuck with Dietz and Watson.
Dietz and Watson. I mean, they got Dietz nuts. How can you go wrong with that corporation? Dietz nuts.
But
I want my MBA class. I want an excuse to write a paper about Dietz nuts. Then I'll be happy.
Oh God, I really need that to happen.
I need it to happen.
The marketing behind Dietz nuts.
I have written about this semester Panera Bread, Kind Bars, and now Netflix. So I need an excuse to write about Dietz nuts.
Do Dietz nuts still exist? Do they still have them?
I think they do. I looked this up pretty recently because it's such a hilariously named product. It's just meatballs, like little beef jerky balls.
Yeah.
But great name. Great advertising.
But you called them Dietz nuts.
Dietz nuts.
You knew what you were doing, and you did it.
They knew what they were doing right there. Okay, so that's a good ranking right there. Those sound. I mean, great tour. Great tour.
It ended up being a better tour because I'm gonna peek behind the curtain. Steve knows this.
Yeah.
But so when you're in the Pearl Jam fan club, the way that their tours work is that you get to say, I would like to be entered into the lottery for these shows. And if you win the lottery, you get a ticket. Like, you've put your credit card information in. If you get yourself a lottery spot, boom, you've got a ticket. Or 2 tickets, however many tickets you asked for. I put in for 5 shows on this tour. I put in for both New York shows, both Philly shows, and the Missoula show, because I do like to use a Pearl Jam tour as an excuse to go someplace I've never gone before. And this year I picked Missoula.
Honestly, I love that. That's a great, I've used the Flyers and Phillies. The first time I went to Chicago, I used the Phillies as an excuse to visit Chicago because they were playing at Wrigley.
It's anything that you love, if you can use it as an excuse to go someplace, why not?
Yeah.
So the only show that I got out of those 5 requests was Philly Night 2. And I
also put in for both Philly shows. I got Zip.
I have never been shut out the way that I was shut out for this tour. And then I just started to get, things started to fall into place in a way they never fall into place for me. So, they ended up doing, a second pre-sale for the Missoula show, where if you were in the lottery for the Missoula show and you didn't get chosen, you could participate in this, secondary pre-sale that, went through the college. Ended up getting a ticket to that show that way.
Nice.
Then there was a secondary pre-sale for Fenway. And I was like, oh, I'll just get one of those shows. And then I did that. And then I was like, well, I can't not go to both Philly shows. So then I just spent an obscene amount of money on a ticket for Philly Night 1. And then I was like, well, you're going to Boston anyway. But you gotta you gotta get the other show too. So then I just spent too much money on a ticket to Fenway Night 2. Here's the thing. Sometimes being old and single is good, because you can blow your money whenever the fuck you want. Because here's the thing, kids. When you work long enough, eventually you just start making a pretty decent amount of money. You don't even have to try that hard. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you can do stuff. And I don't have anybody depending on me. Yeah. I had a cat, but he left. And so now I can just blow my money on dumb bullshit like Pearl Jam shows.
And we have a similar situation. What a time to be alive. I mean, it's Emily and I, so it's slightly different, but we don't have kids. We have Bruce, but we can board Bruce for a week we have a dog daycare at the Bach building that we send him to. Mm-hmm. And he loves those friggin' people, and he knows every dog there. So when he goes, he has a great time. So we have to spend a little extra money, but we'll board him there for the week, and he's happy as a clam. We get picture updates on him every day. So
it's cute.
It's very cute. It's great. But The thing is, like, we're a similar situation though. Where it's like, well, we want to spend money on this, and we don't have like kids or anything to worry about, so let's just freaking do it. Yeah, it's nice.
It is
There
nice.
are good things about getting old, folks. There are.
I'm gonna tell you what. People talk shit on it. There are some really good things. Every year, with every birthday, you give like one fewer fuck about anything.
Yeah,
and that part is glorious.
It is pretty freeing. Yeah.
I wish I could go back in time and give like 25-year-old Kelly a lesson in how not to give a fuck, because I gave way too many fucks when I was younger, and now I'm like, man, I don't care. Who cares? Oh, you don't like me? All right. Oh, I'm ugly.
All right.
Okay, if you say so. I don't care.
I'm just gonna move on with my day. Bye bye now.
Okay. Like, yeah, you're not the first person to say shitty things about me. I've heard it all before. Keep it moving. So yeah, it is kind of nice when that switch happens in your brain. It's kind of nice. That part's nice. And then, you know, you've been at your job for X amount of years. All of a sudden you have a little bit of money. Steve's got himself a lovely partner. They've got dual income, no kids, little dog. Like, it's, you know, things start to work out for you. Yeah, it's nice. Not so bad.
Yeah. I get to, you know, I have a fine day job, and I get to do this Flyers talk on my nights and weekends. And
could be worse, Steve.
It could be a lot worse, you know. Hey, I definitely could have been worse, but yeah. So yeah, Pearl Jam show's a lot of fun, and you got to take. Was it Dylan you took to his first show?
I did. Dylan, he of the M-Lot tailgate fame. I don't even remember how it happened. I think that he was, so when their latest album came out, I don't know what it was about this latest album, but there were a lot of people on the timeline who I never saw talk about Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Listen to this album. Like, Micah listened to this album when it came out. He's not a Pearl Jam person at all.
Yeah.
And I think Dylan listened to the album. And then I think I don't remember how it happened, but I was like, I mean, if you want to go to a show, like, I'm sure that we could find a ticket, but it's probably not going to be cheap. And so then I just like looked real quick on StubHub or SeatGeek or whatever. And there were 2 seats on the second level, second row on the side of the stage. And I was like, there's not that many tickets left to this show. This show is 100% going to be sold out by the time we get to it. Do you want to spend $500 on a ticket? And he was like, yeah, I don't care. I was like, boom, let's go.
Wow. Beautiful.
That's too much money.
That's too much, but it is a great rock and roll show. It is like, it's like one of those ones that's hard to describe to people too, because like you hear their music on their albums, and I've always liked it, but I didn't know, because I always used to hear the guys on WMR, like on like the Preston and Steve show and like Pierre Robert, like they would talk about like how amazing Pearl Jam shows are. And I had some live albums and I'm like, they're pretty good live. I don't know. But then I went to a show for the first time in 2016 and I'm like, I freaking get it. I got it. Yeah.
It's not to be like super cheesy, but it's a spiritual experience.
It is. Like, it's communal,
incredible,
man. When you're singing like, you know, freaking Release or Better Man with the whole crowd, like
20,000 people.
It's like so cool. That freaking Camden show is one of the
when
best.
When they turn the lights on for Alive, everyone's singing. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing.
If you like more than one Pearl Jam song and you've never been to a Pearl Jam show, I highly recommend trying to get to one when they tour next. I always think to myself also, Steve, every tour that comes around, I'm like, this could be the last one. Boys are getting old.
You never know. You never know. Boys, Eddie and the boys are old boys or old men now.
Exactly. So I will be going to as many shows as humanly possible until they decide that they're done, which hopefully will not be anytime soon.
I don't think it's gonna be. And this last album was a banger, so I understand. Like,
I like it so much.
It's probably it's the best one in a while. I
got into an argument with Sarah Baker about it at that table that we were all sitting.
Oh, so I just missed that. But and I mentioned this last week, but we had like a little like 2012 Flyers Twitter reunion.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Me, you, fucking Sarah Baker. Fran, who is like just the loveliest man. I'm like,
Fran is like, I forgot how lovely Fran was.
He's like a doll.
I haven't seen him. I don't know if I've seen Fran in person since the infamous NHL Flyer Steve Hartnell sign tailgate back in the day.
Yeah. So Sarah was like, well, the last like whole album that they had that was good was Avocado. I was like, this one's better than Avocado. She was like, no, I don't think it's better. I'm like, no, it's better than Avocado. I think this album was their best album since Riot Act. And I was stand by it.
Okay. That is strong words right there. But
I really
all
liked
right.
Gigaton too, but this one's better.
I wasn't a huge Gigaton fan. I like this one a lot though.
Gigaton had skips on it for me. Like if I go back
Yeah.
and listen to Gigaton, there's songs that I'm skipping. This
Yeah.
album I can listen to straight through, no skips.
Love it. Love it. No, it was a solid one.
The true sign. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love you're converting people out there. Yeah, and they're just great damn rock and roll shows, folks. That's all I have to say.
And they're good people.
They're good people. Good people give to good causes, and
you'll love it.
Yeah,
you'll love to see it.
Gotta love it. And somebody who's in the music world that I think we enjoy some of the music, but probably not a good person. But Kelly almost got a gift for me today. I'm hoping she can still steal it and give it to me. But she saw something on the road traveling. She's in California right now.
Yeah, so I'm in California for a work conference. And so I've been traveling all day today. And in the Phoenix airport, I had like a 3-hour layover. So I was hanging out in the lounge, the American Airlines lounge, because I'm fancy, which means I have a credit card. So I'm sitting in the lounge. I think I was listening to Bill and Charlie's podcast at the time. They were on live because it was like 1:00 in the afternoon for me. And I turned to my right, and there at the buffet, I see a woman wearing a Aaron Lewis, "Don't Tread on Me" American flag, and not like a regular American flag, like the real like gritty, distressed American flag, like the Punisher American flag, like the real fucked up one.
Yeah.
That American flag, the words "Don't Tread on Me," Aaron Lewis tour shirt. And I thought to myself, never in my life have I seen something more made for Steve Jaco. It was incredible. I was like, okay, not only does this shirt exist, this person purchased it and then decided to wear it outside of a venue that calls for an Aaron Lewis tour shirt. Like, she was like, I want everyone to know that I went to the Aaron Lewis tour recently, and I really like him. Do you think he plays Mud Shovel at Aaron Lewis shows?
Oh man, that's
the only good song.
It's the only song worth playing. Yeah,
Mud Shovel is a banger.
And Mud Shovel is a banger. Like, I would bang my head to fucking Mud Shovel.
Yeah, Mud Shovel rules.
Mud Shovel is great.
No, wait. Now that I think about it, he opened for Korn when I saw Korn like 3 or 4 years ago, and he did play Mud Shovel.
Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, that's right. They did open up that Korn show.
Answer my own question.
I only saw Stained. I think I saw them at Family Values one time. Yeah. But you know, folks, been a while.
You can never lose the "Been a While."
You can't. Like, that is a lasting Craig Forsyth
integrated
legacy
into the brand
that will never leave the brand. You know, like that is a lasting Craig impression, along with Too Much Marinara over there.
I forgot to tell you this. This is a good time to tell you here on the show in front of everybody. When I went to Flyers practice, someone stopped me to tell me that he liked the podcast and that he was a long time Broad Street hockey person. And he said, I really miss Steve and Craig on Flyperbole. And I was like, oh, I think a lot of people do. Well, Craig, if you're listening.
We salute you, Craig. We all miss the Craigster. We do.
We do.
There was a random energy that the two of us would generate. That's
sometimes there's a rapport that is very special and it cannot be replicated with anybody else. You can find something good with somebody else. Like, we clearly do a very good job.
The Quigster, we love the Quigster. The Quigster does a fantastic job. Love talking puck with that dude.
You vibe with someone on a very specific level. And you and Craig definitely had that.
There was a weird level that Craig and I connected on that cannot be ever replicated. I don't even try to replicate it because it would be a pointless, fruitless exercise. Like, any bits I do are not forced. Like, I just enjoy doing the bits. Like, I just always thought It'd Been a While was hilarious, and now it can't leave my brain. And the new metal stuff, I grew up on the shit. Like that was what was popular in high school. So I love talking about it because it was popular when I was in high school. I think we all connect with music most when we're in high school. So that's where that all comes from.
That's like a thing that like is like scientific or something about the way that your brain is when you're like 14.
And that's why you stop liking new music once you turn like 35.
That is correct. That's why Steve and I are still going to Pearl Jam shows.
Exactly. Every band I've seen, like the band I saw, like this year, I saw like Green Day, the Smashing Pumpkins, and Pearl Jam. Every band that was popular in 1995. So that's where
when music was good.
That's where my brain is at. But yeah, man, like it's well, I hope you told that person that we are honored and said hello. But yeah, we love and miss the Craigster, but the Quigster is also, we love the Quigster.
A great guy.
Steady Eddie over there. We love Quigs and love talking puck with that man. He's a very smart boy. Very simple. Yeah. No, he's that man and I, we can debate some hockey. Like we debate in a way that Craig and I never debated. Like Craig and I agreed most of the time on everything. It'd be like, Craig would make a point and be like, I agree with everything you just said. Okay. Whereas like Quigley and I have genuine disagreements on like stuff about the team, which I think is very interesting for podcasting purposes.
It is. Yeah. Sometimes if you agree too much, it got a little
like there were well, I think that's why we end up talking about more weird stuff and doing more games, is because like most of the times one of us would make the point. It was like, yeah, you just summed it up. It was like, cool.
All right.
And then we talk for 2 hours about, Guy Fieri or something. So.
Right.
And I do a John Taffer impression. Hopefully the Flyers this year don't make me do a bar rescue for the Flyers. Shut it down.
I hope not.
Blow out my voice doing that Taffer voice.
I don't know how Tapper has a voice.
Dude, I don't understand either.
Looks like he's going to blow a vein in his eyeball.
I don't think he's human. I don't think he's human at all.
He's a weird dude.
I would have to drink like 4 more mugs of this raspberry zinger honey tea in order to get my throat properly ready for that. Like for one of the sketch shows, I was like, you got to write me a John Taffer sketch that I can do. And then thinking back, I'm like, could I survive that?
No.
Like, I don't think I would be able to speak for a week after doing a full John Taffer sketch on stage.
It would be a lot.
It would be a lot. Yeah.
He's always yelling.
He's always yelling, but then he brings it down real quiet and he goes, hey, listen, your father's very disappointed in you. Okay. You're letting your whole family down. And what's wrong with you? So he just kind of quietly yells for a couple minutes.
Yes. He always looks like he's going to pop a vein though.
This is the number 3 bartender at TGI Friday. She's going to teach you how to make a mocktail. Fucking weird show, man. And if you've seen 3 bar rescues, you've seen all of them.
You've seen every single one.
You've seen every single one. Like
it's a very easy formula to understand.
Very easy formula. Well, Kelly, I could probably keep you like bullshitting for another like hour, but for all of our sakes, I'm going to cut it off here. It's been a blast. Love talking to you. Let's do this more throughout the season. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up, even though I feel like this is what would happen with Craig. I get like my second.
You just get going.
Like, let's go. But for my sake, because I have to be up early to walk the long walk to the Patco. No, I got to walk to the Patco in the morning, and then I got to go to New Jersey for work. So that's my life. Hey, listen, I'm gainfully employed, and I'm happy about it. So huzzah! Yeah, but we're going to get going. But folks, thank you so much for listening. We love and cherish you all.
Sure do.
Kelly, I think people know where to follow you on social media, but if they don't, where can people follow you on the socials? Do they want to, say hi?
The only of the socials media that I use is Twitter because I'm an elderly millennial. You can find me at Hinks, Hinx. That's the only place I will be. I'm technically on Instagram, but I don't really do anything on there.
Yeah, just you're there.
Good stuff.
Yeah. But you're not there to get messages from people and interact. Like you're there to just.
I mean, listen, if you want to slide into my DMs, I'm always listening.
Slide on in.
Just don't be weird.
Don't be weird. Don't be a jerk.
But yeah, pretty much Twitter. And then also broadstreethockey.com. Like and subscribe. Find Flyperbole on all of your podcast platforms by searching for Broad Street Hockey. Subscribe to the feed. I don't know if you guys know this, but we're building the feed back up, so you must subscribe.
And rate, please rate.
And yes, give an honest rating, which means 5 stars. If it's anything less than 5 stars, we're gonna block you.
couple of you
Also true.
mischief makers have done less than 5 stars, and I see you. And
Don't
I'm
read,
gonna
Steve. Don't read them.
I actually don't.
Oh, thank God.
No,
Every now and again, I would read the Broad
I
Street Hockey reviews, and it would fuck me up 4 days.
I read one
Don't read.
from the old reviews that has stuck with me to this day, and it was one that was actually right, and I was furious about it, and then I implemented what they said.
I
They
think
were
all
right.
the time about the bad ones.
Yeah. The bad ones really, there's so many good ones, and people say such nice things, and the bad ones are the ones that really stick in your craw.
Ones are the ones that you remember, so you simply can't read any of them.
No, don't read them. But
Only way
please,
forward.
Please like and
But
subscribe.
leave them.
Yeah, leave them. We like, get us some ratings, get us out there. We appreciate. I'm printing up a whole bunch of new stickers this week, so when we're out at events, we're talking about a couple things for the fall.
Some stuff's
we're doing some stuff, and we got good friends that help us out with events now, so that's fun. So be on the lookout. We're gonna have events. We're gonna have stickers. It's gonna be a good time. But folks, we do thank you so much for listening. It's Flyperbole over on Twitter /X, whatever the fuck you call it, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok, all that stuff, Friendster, MySpace, blah blah blah.
Don't find my live journal. No one.
Don't look. Nobody needs that. I can't get it anymore because the Russians took it away from me. But
oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
They did. Mother Russia owns my 23-year-old soul, but that's how it is. But folks, it's Flyperbole. Please follow Hanks. Follow the Quigster, Ryan Quiggs over there. He's on all the usuals. And so long, and thanks for all the fish. Be sure to, and one more time, thanks to our friends over at Bet Online for sponsoring this show. We do appreciate that. And until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow.